seconds and counting.
Today was day 10 of Texans training camp, I believe, and today we saw a little bit of news come out today. Not too much due to the fact that they were not in pads today. Today was the first day that they weren't in pads for a while because they got a game this week, and so they're just kind of going over what the identity of the team is and just that in general. But some news came out today. First of all, let's start with probably the biggest news. CJ Stroud is starting the first preseason game against the Patriots on, I believe, Thursday. He was named the starter by D'Amico Ryans talking to the NFL Network guys. He was talking to them, and he named CJ Stroud the starter for that very first game, which is good to see. I mean, I'd like to see him tested against a good defense like that and get his feet wet. He should play a couple of drives, I would assume, probably 2 or 3, maybe just the first quarter in general, and hopefully we can get some points on the board and just see how he looks. Some other news that came out of training camp today. Titus Howard is going to be out for a while, Coach D'Amico said. I don't know what a while means, but he has a hand injury, and so the expectation is that George Fant, the newly signed tackle, is going to fill in at right tackle, and he's okay. So it shouldn't be a huge deal. I think Titus shouldn't be out too long, hopefully, because it's just a hand injury. So my hope is that he's back by the start of the season, but even if he's not, George Fant could fill in okay for couple of weeks or something. Some other interesting things. Kenyon Green was praised by Coach D'Amico today in press conference, which is just kind of really cool to see. I mean, we haven't really heard anything positive about Kenyon Green because everyone was so down on him from last season. I mean, he was very bad last year at guard, and there's no way that you can say he wasn't. But to hear that he's improving is really good to see. I mean, he was a first-round pick, and they took him over multiple good offensive linemen. So you at least got to hope he's decent because he's basically the big hole on this offensive line. Obviously center, but I have some belief in Juice Scruggs to be pretty good. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, my hope and expectation is that Kenyon Green takes a step forward this year and he can at least improve and not be awful. If he can just be decent, I'll be okay with it. I mean, you're not always going to hit on first round picks, but you can't like completely be awful like that. That's just like he was so bad last year. But he looks better, apparently, and that's great to see. Steven Nelson also spoke to the media for the first time since the whole Casario thing happened. And he sounded excited about his new contract that he got, which is great to see. I mean, Steven Nelson is a really good corner, I truly believe, and I didn't want to see him go. I just think there's so much to like about Steven Nelson at corner aside from Stingley. I mean, he's just a really good player, and he's been a good player for a very long time, and he's a good fit in this defense. He even talked about that today, how he's excited for the more man-style defense because, I mean, that's just what fits his play style more. Last season, he was playing in that real Tampa 2 type defense, which just really isn't his style, and really for corners in general, it's not really their style. They're not really meant for Tampa 2 because they just sit in the flats and don't really do anything. So I think the secondary is going to be awesome this year, and I'm very glad they kept Steven Nelson around and added Shaq Griffin and Jimmy Ward and all these other guys to improve the secondary even more because that should be one of the strengths of this team, especially when Titus is out and the offensive line may not be at the top level. I mean, there's no reason that the secondary shouldn't be the best group on this team. And another thing that happened today was we saw Case Keenum took some second-team snaps away from Davis Mills, which is interesting. I mean, maybe they're possibly prepping for if Mills gets in some trade talk and you need Case Keenum to be backup, so that's interesting. But it seems like CJ Stroud is the runaway QB1, and he's going to be the starter week 1, which is just what should happen. He's the best quarterback on this roster. He has the highest upside on this roster. There's no reason he should not be the starter. For him, if he was not the starter, it would not be a very good sign about his future. I don't think he would have to be very bad in training camp, and Davis Mills is not very good. So if you get outplayed by him in training camp, you're going to have a little bit of problems in the games, I think. But I mean, he's looked good from all accounts in training camp, and he deserved a starting job. And I'm glad they made him earn it, but it was about time to finish this off and go ahead and let's move on with our life and make him the starter and go ahead because that should be one of the easiest positions to fill out for this team, I think. I mean, there's no reason he shouldn't be quarterback one from the very beginning because he is the best quarterback on this roster and he is the future of this Texans team. Like, absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind he is the future of this Texans team and he's going to be this team's quarterback for a very long time. So he absolutely needed to start, and I'm glad DeMeco Ryans saw that and did it, because we see some defensive head coaches not be very willing to give their quarterback the starting job immediately, and they make them earn it with the veteran, or in this case, Davis Mills. But C.J. Stroud is the most talented quarterback on this roster, and even if he maybe is not better than Keenum or Mills right now, I mean, you're going to have to get him out there to get experience because he is going to be the starter for this team. And you just, this season in general is not really what you're aiming for. You're still building for the future in terms of like this team. You're not really going to be contending for a championship this year. And that's your end goal, obviously. So you want to try to continue to build towards the future. And only way to do that is let CJ Stroud progress and continue to get better, because he is going to go, or the team is going to go as CJ Stroud goes in this future. And I mean, it's going to be really exciting to see, because I truly do believe in CJ Stroud. I think he is going to be the right pick for this Texans team, and he's looked really good during camp, and I've seen nothing since the draft to make me think that he is not going to be a franchise quarterback, and they made the right pick, I believe. And I mean, we're going to see, because he has a great offensive line to be behind, I believe, and I think he has some weapons coming up here. Maybe not this year in particular, but as this team progresses, he's going to get better weapons, and the guys in general are just going to progress forward. So there's a lot to like about how this Texans training camp has been going, and it should be very exciting, and everyone should be excited about CJ Stroud being named the starter. And hopefully we get Titus back pretty soon, because Titus is one of the better players on this roster, and it would kind of suck to not have him. But George Fant should be able to fill in there. And I still think this offensive line will be pretty good even without Titus. So hope you all enjoyed this video. It's another training camp recap, and just kind of talking about the CJ Stroud starting preseason week 1. If y'all continue to want these training camp recap videos, just let us know and we'll keep pumping them out. Us at Clutch City Entertainment should be there tomorrow, I believe. So we should be able to get some pretty good content for y'all tomorrow from the training camp and report back to y'all about what happened in that training camp. So hope y'all enjoyed. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and just keep tuning into our videos.